Oakwood Street was eerily quiet. Too quiet. No birds sang, no leaves rustled. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Houses stood like watchful giants, their windows dark and empty. A strange stillness hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. It pressed down on 12-year-old Dedda as he walked, making him quicken his pace. He felt a shiver crawl up his spine, sending goosebumps erupting on his arms. Dedda lived at the end of Oakwood Street, in a small house with a red door. It was the only splash of colour on that street. But today even the red door seemed dull, almost afraid. He reached his gate and paused. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. A low hum vibrated in the air, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end.
Pauses, looking around nervously. Something's not right, I can feel it.
The silence of Oakwood Street was more than just an absence of sound. It was a warning, a prelude to something ominous. The humming led Dedda to Sri Gupta's house. Sri Gupta was an inventor, a wizard, some whispered. His house, unlike the others, buzzed with a strange energy. Light spilled from a window, revealing a workshop cluttered with gears, wires and strange glowing liquids. In the centre of it all sat Sri Gupta, his eyes gleaming with an odd light. Dedda watched, hidden in the shadows, as Sri Gupta held up a gleaming doorknob. It pulsed with an eerie green light, casting strange shadows on the walls.
Chuckles dryly. This is no ordinary doorknob. This, my boy, is a portal to another dimension.
Sri Gupta's voice was like dry leaves skittering across pavement. His chuckle sent a chill down Dedda's spine.
Whispers to himself. A portal to another dimension? This can't be good.
Dedda knew he had stumbled upon something far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. Fear coiled in Dedda's stomach. He knew Sri Gupta's inventions were dangerous. He'd seen things, heard whispers. But this was different. Suddenly, Sri Gupta turned, his eyes locking onto Dedda's hiding spot. A wicked smile spread across his face.
Smiling wickedly. Ah, a visitor. Come, come, boy. Don't be shy.
Dedda's heart pounded against his ribs. He knew he had to do something. With a burst of courage, he lunged, snatching the doorknob from Sri Gupta's grasp. The doorknob pulsed hot in his hand. He ran, the wizard's enraged shouts echoing behind him.
Panting, running. I have to get away. I have to keep this safe.
He didn't stop running until he reached the edge of the woods. The cursed doorknob clutched tightly in his hand. Dedda had made a sacrifice, but the adventure was only just beginning. The next day, Dedda met his friends Scythia and Edu at the edge of the woods. He told them everything, his voice hushed, his eyes wide with fear. Scythia as Scythia. "We have to hide it," she whispered, her eyes wide with concern. Scythia was a practical girl, always the voice of reason. Edu as Edu. "Let's throw it in the well," Edu suggested, his voice trembling slightly. He was the youngest of the three, prone to flights of fancy and impulsive decisions. Dedda as Dedda. "No, it's too dangerous. We need to hide it where no one will find it." His eyes scanned the woods, searching for the perfect hiding place. Scythia as Scythia. "I know," she exclaimed, pointing to a dense thicket of thorns and vines. Scythia as Scythia. "No one ever goes in there." They pushed through the dense foliage, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying leaves. Finally, they reached a small clearing, hidden from view. Dedda carefully placed the doorknob at the base of a gnarled old tree. Dedda as Dedda. "No one will find it here," he said, a note of relief in his voice. Dedda as Dedda. "Promise me you won't touch it," Dedda said, his eyes locking onto Edu's. He knew his friend's curiosity could get the better of him. Edu, his eyes wide and innocent, nodded solemnly. "Edu as Edu, I promise." But Dedda saw the flicker of fascination in his friend's eyes, and a knot of unease tightened in his stomach.